Board Member Firestone.
Yeah, and I'm probably, on the other end of the spectrum, I think, on these concerns, because I'm concerned that, um, while we're seeing that we are uh, considering we need to, and we appropriately are considering public trust in our determination of reasonable use. Um, if there's I'm interested with the bypass flow. Um, is there the potential for, because we are seeing that in consideration of public trust and reasonableness, it's okay to have water skip that mile and be discharged after, there's a gap of when it's taken out and when it's put back in. Um, isn't it appropriate to be looking at the potential public trust impacts of not having water in that bypass reach, I'll call it. But isn't that part of what we should be considering in terms of public trust? And I think there's a separate that doesn't determine the whole issue, but I'm just wondering if you can speak to that question.
Excuse me. Well, I think it's certainly appropriate to look at that issue. I have no quarrel with that. I think that's a basic concept. I think the issue is in this on this evidentiary record, do we have sufficient evidence to make findings one way or the other about that issue, so that the various uses on the stream can be balanced as the public trust doctrine requires? And unfortunately, we don't. There's evidence in the testimony in the record that keeping water through that part of the stream supports macroinvertebrate life that can be beneficial to salmon downstream. The problem is that there's not particularly concrete evidence beyond that statement about macroinvertebrate life and some water temperature concerns that allow us to, in my view, really evaluate and balance the competing concerns on this stream. And again, that's something that could certainly be looked at through a separate regulatory process, both on this and other streams. But based on the evidence in the record for it, as I view it, we don't quite have enough to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of balancing and information that goes into determining an in-stream flow, and I think it's I think this order is trying to walk that line